everybody, it's Mel. Thank you so much for joining me today as I talk through 24 books that are coming out in 2024 that I am super excited about. So as you may already be aware, I am not particularly great at new releases. I haven't in the past really kept up with releases that are coming out. I don't pre-order as a general rule. Yeah, it's just not something that I'm particularly concerned with. What I did last year was I decided to combine the 23, 24, whatever number of books that I need to read in 2023, 2024, what have you, with an anticipated releases video. So I talked through 23 books that were coming out in 2023 that I was really excited about. Did I read most of those? No, I did not. I read a few, I bought a few, but I didn't read a lot of them. However, I'm going to try again in 2024. I'm going to try and be a little bit more on the pulse about when things are coming out and what I'm actually interested in reading, and yeah, just being a little bit more on top of it, a little bit more proactive about reading books as I get them. I still have a ridiculous TBR that needs to be brought down, but I am excited about books as they come out, so I should read them when I'm excited about them rather than getting them and then not. But anyway, that is a conversation for a different video. Today we're going to talk through 24 books that are being released in 2024 that I'm really, really excited about. I have put them into order of when they are expected to be released. Obviously, I'm not 100% certain if that is entirely accurate. I've gotten all the information about that off of Goodreads, and publication dates change fairly frequently. There's at least one book on here that's been expected to be released for a few years now and has been pushed back every year, so who knows. Like I said, there's only 24. I do actually have a shelf on Goodreads which is 2024 releases, which is what I've put all these into and a bunch more, but I wanted to stick to the 24. 24 is manageable. I could potentially read 24 books next year. I mean, I definitely will read 24 books next year, but I could potentially read 24 books that come out next year, but there are a few that I'm interested in on top of these 24, but these are the ones I'm most interested in for various reasons. Some of these books are books that continue series that I'm reading. Some of these books are written by authors that I have loved in the past. Some of them just sound amazing, so yeah. Anyway, without further ado, let me dive in and start talking to you about the books. I am going to be looking at the computer, which is just here, but yeah, let's do it. So the first book that I'm super excited about is Most Ardently, and it is a Pride and Prejudice remix. So this is actually part of a series. I haven't read any of the books in the series so far, but I have heard Joshana from Joshana talk about a couple of these books and she has made them sound absolutely amazing. So I'm really, really keen to read some of the books on this list. They basically take classics and do a remix of them. So do a bit of a gender swap or make the main characters people of colour or different things like that. So this one is a trans remix of Pride and Prejudice. I will just read you a little bit of the Goodreads synopsis. I'm not going to read the whole Goodreads synopsis for every book. We'd be here for 100 years, but I'll just give you a little taste. So it says, London, 1812. Oliver Bennet feels trapped, not just by the endless corsets, petticoats and skirts he's forced to wear on a daily basis, but also by society's expectations. The world and the vast majority of his family and friends think Oliver is a girl named Elizabeth. He is therefore expected to mingle at balls wearing a pretty dress, entertain suitors regardless of his interest in them, and ultimately become someone's wife. He starts sneaking out, and during one such excursion, Oliver becomes acquainted with Darcy, a sulky young man who had been rude to Elizabeth at a recent social function. But in the comfort of being out of the public eye, Oliver comes to find that Darcy is actually a sweet, intelligent boy with a warm heart and, not to mention, incredibly attractive. So I just think that sounds fantastic. I love Pride and Prejudice. It is one of my favourite books of all time. It is one of my favourite classics of all time. I've read it a ridiculous number of times at this point. I have watched BBC production from the 90s a ridiculous amount of times, and yes, I will read anything that is a Pride and Prejudice remix, and this one just sounds absolutely amazing, so I am really excited about it. It's expected to come out on January 16th, 2024. So yeah. Sorry, I forgot to say that the author is Gabe Cole Novoa for Most Ardently. Right, number two. Number two also comes out on the 16th of January 2024, and that is So Let Them Burn by Camilla Cole. This is a Jamaican-inspired fantasy, which is apparently excellent for fans of Priory of the Orange Tree and Iron Widow. I haven't read Iron Widow, but I've read and loved Priory of the Orange Tree, so I feel like that sounds like it could be for me. I actually saw Wren from the Reading Wren talk about this, and they made it sound absolutely amazing. As you can see, the cover is incredible. It says, Farron Vincent can channel the power of the gods. 5 years ago, she used her divine magic to liberate her island from its enemies, the dragon-riding Langley Empire. But now, at 17, Farron is all powered up with no wars to fight. She's a legend to her people and a nuisance to her neighbours. When she's forced to attend an international peace summit, Farron expects that she'll perform tricks like a trained pet and then go home. She doesn't expect her older sister, Elara, forming an unprecedented bond with an enemy dragon, or the gods claiming the only way to break that bond is to kill her sister. Doesn't that sound amazing? I just think that sounds exactly like a Mel book. It's got dragons, it's got gods, it's got fantasy, it's just going to be such a fun time. So I'm really excited about it. Apparently it is queer as well, so yeah. That's book number two. I know I said in particular that So Let Them Burn has an incredible cover, but actually most of these books have beautiful covers. The publishing industry has really upped their cover game in the last few years, I think. Anyway, the next book is book number 3 in the Crescent City series by Sarah J. Maas, which is House of Flame and Shadow. So I don't really want to give you a synopsis for this one because it's book number 3, but I feel like if you watch any booktuber ever, you probably already know what this series is about. This is a series set in another world with all sorts of different paranormal fantasy creatures. We have fae, we have angels, we have demons, we have fauns, we have all sorts of different things. And it's set in Crescent City, which is a city in this other world, and it's basically about the politics and also the internal lives of the main characters. We mostly follow both Hunt Alphala and Bryce Quinlan as they go about trying to, in the first one, solve a murder, in the second one, deal with what happened as a result of that, and I don't know what's going to happen in this third one. Sarah J. Maas had something at the end of Crescent City 2 which threw an absolute curveball, and I have no idea what's coming. So yeah, I'm excited to see what's going to happen. Super excited to continue with the series. So that one comes out on January 30th, 2024. Also coming out on the 30th of January 2024 is The Invocations by Crystal Sutherland. Okay, so straight up it says, from the author of New York Times bestseller House of Hollow comes a darkly seductive witchy thriller where, though both men and demons lurk in shadows, girls refuse to go quietly into the night. I mean, yes, please? Doesn't that just sound incredible? So I read House of Hollow a little while ago and really enjoyed it, and basically I saw this and thought that sounds incredible as well, so I definitely am very keen to read it. I really enjoyed Crystal Sutherland's writing style. I thought she did a fantastic job at being creepy, and yeah, I'm keen to read some more of her work. So this is about Zara Jones, whose sister was murdered by a serial killer, and there's really nothing she can do to change that. And then we have Jude Wolfe, might be the daughter of a billionaire, but she's also undeniably cursed. After a deal with a demon went horribly wrong, her soul is now slowly turning necrotic. Good grief. Flowers and insects die in her wake, and monstrous things come to taunt her at night. If Jude can't find the right someone to fix her mistake, she fears she'll die very soon. Enter Emma Brine, the solution to both Zara's and Jude's predicaments. The daughter of a witch, Amir sells spells to women in desperate situations, willing to sacrifice a part of their soul in exchange for a bit of power, a bit of magic, to change their lives. But Amir has a dark past all her own, and as her former clients are murdered one by one, she knows it's followed her all the way to London. I mean, yeah, sign me up. Thank you very much. I'll read that. It sounds amazing. Okay, moving into February, moving into a book that is another installment in a series that I love, that I have been reading for like 20 years. And that book is The Lantern's Dance by Laurie R. King. This is book number 18 in the Mary Russell series by Laurie R. King. The Mary Russell series is a Sherlock Holmes retelling. It is a historical fiction that is following Mary Russell, and Mary Russell in the first book literally bumps into, on the Sussex Downs, the retired Sherlock Holmes, and they have a conversation, and basically they figure out that they have a lot in common, and Sherlock basically takes her in as his apprentice. Each book is a mystery that they solve together, but we also learn a lot more about both characters and other characters. We also travel around Europe and the Mediterranean, and yeah, it's just a fantastic series. I think it's incredibly well written, incredibly intelligently written. I love Mary Russell as a character. She's one of my favourite characters in the world, and yeah, I will read pretty much anything Laurie R. King writes at this point. I've read most of her books and loved every single one, so this one is definitely one I am most excited about. This one is set in the French countryside, which should be really, really fun. Also coming out on the 13th of February 2024 is, I hope I'm going to say this correctly, Neferura, written by Milena Evans. This is the thrilling tale of the forgotten daughter of a legendary Egyptian pharaoh and the path she must take to escape her own dangerous fate. There are many paths to power. They all come with a price. Neferura, princess and high priestess of Kemet, knows her duty to her people. When your mother is the great pharaoh, it is hard to forget. But Neferura's unique position at court comes with high stakes for her country, especially when she's forced to serve her vile half-brother, a man determined to stop Neferura's potential rise. Peace, it seems, never lasts for women who wield power in the open. Yes, I love a Greek or historical retelling. I love historical fiction in general, and I really love when it's kind of about gods and, like I said, mythological retellings, because then it kind of crosses a little bit into fantasy, which is something I really, really enjoy. This one sounds absolutely amazing. It does say for readers of The Wolf Den and Kaiki, which are two books that I haven't read yet. I own The Wolf Den, which I really want to read, and I don't own Kaiki, but it sounds amazing as well. So I think I'm going to love this one. It sounds really, really cool. It is about Egyptian mythology and history, which I don't know a lot about, but I have done a little bit of reading into. So yeah, I'm excited to potentially learn more, but just have a really great fun time as well. Coming out on the 13th of February 2024 as well is The Briar Book of the Dead by A.G. Slatter. This also sounds incredible. I mean, like I said, all these books on this list sound incredible. So it says on Goodreads, to the outside world, Silverton appears not to matter much at all. It sits on a remote mountain pass, far from the great cathedral city of London. It's run by witches, who, in the usual scheme of things, would be burnt. Yet a dispensation keeps the Briars safe for one simple, dangerous reason. They are the custodians of the threshold between the civilized world and the Darklands, where leech lords hold sway. Vampires are especially feared by the ecclesiastics, for leeches steal souls as well as bodies, and mortal souls are the church's most valuable currency. So, other worlds, witches, vampires, fantasy, potentially an alternative history of the UK, all sound exactly like my kind of thing, so I thought it sounded like something I'd really, really love, and definitely keen to have a look into that one. The final book that I have on my list that is also coming out on the 13th of February 2024 is Meda by Eilish Quinn, I believe is the correct pronunciation. There are actually two books entitled Medea, assumedly about Medea, coming out in 2024. But this is the one that I thought sounded like it could potentially be the most interesting. It says, discover the full story of the sorceress Medea, one of the most reviled and maligned women of Greek antiquity. In this propulsive and evocative debut in the tradition of Circe, Electra, and Stone Blind. Among the women of Greek mythology, the witch Medea may be the most despised. Known for the brutal act of killing her own children to exact vengeance on her deceitful husband, the Argonauts' leader Jason, Medea has carved out a singularly infamous niche in our histories. But what if that isn't the full story? I mean, it isn't the full story. There is other stuff about Medea. But yeah, I think this is going to be amazing. It sounds absolutely fantastic. I am very keen to see what Eilish Quinn does with this story. Like I said before, I love a mythology retelling. Greek mythology is particularly interesting to me. I did classics at university in my undergrad degree, and yeah, I just absolutely love so many different retellings and find it really exciting. Love Medea as a character, so I'm very, very keen to see what Eilish does with this one. Moving into March, I only have the one book that I'm super interested in that is scheduled to come out in March, and that is to come out on the 21st of March 2024. And the book is Song of the Huntress by Lucy Holland. So once again, they compare this to Circe, and it says, Song of the Huntress recasts the folklore behind the wild hunt into a dark, feminist fantasy set amidst the legends and beauty of ancient Britain. Yes. Just yes. I don't need anything else. Just yes. Give me that book right now. It sounds absolutely amazing. Like I said, I love some mythology retelling. Celtic mythology was my first mythology love. Anything about Celtic Britain, Roman Britain, I am definitely interested in, and this sounds really cool. It says also, Britain, 60 AD. Hoping to save her lover, land, and her people from the Romans, Hera makes a desperate pact with the king of the otherworld. But years pass unheeded in his realm, and she escapes to find everyone she loved long dead. Cursed to wield his blade, she becomes lord of the hunt, and for centuries she rides, reaping wanderers' souls, until the night she meets a woman on a bloody battlefield, a Saxon queen with ice blue eyes. When their paths cross, Hera knows it's no coincidence. Something dark and dangerous is at work in the Wessex court. The otherworld seeks to rise, to bring the people of Britain under its dominion. And she and Aethel grow closer. Hera must find her humanity and a way to break the curse before it's too late. I didn't need to read anything else, but I hope that you can now see how amazing that sounds, and I'm really, really keen for this one. I saw this on Wren's video as well, and again, they made it sound absolutely amazing. This was a video that they created about queer books coming out in 2024, so I know this one is definitely queer as well, and yeah, it just sounds amazing, and I highly recommend that we all try and find it. The next book that I'm really excited about comes out on the 9th of April 2024, and that is The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. Leigh Bardugo wrote Ninth House and Hellbent and also the Grishaverse. I really love Ninth House and Hellbent and Six of Crows. Didn't love Shadow and Bone that much, to be honest, but I really enjoyed the other things that I've read from Leigh Bardugo, and this sounds really cool, so I'm very, very intrigued to get my hands on it. So it says, in a shabby house on a shabby street in the new capital of Madrid, Lucia Cortado uses scraps of magic to get through her days of endless toil as a scullion. But when her scheming mistress discovers the lump of a servant cowering in the kitchen is actually hiding a talent for little miracles, she demands Lucy use those gifts to better the family's social position. What begins as simple amusement for the bored nobility takes a perilous turn when Lucia garners the notice of Antonio Perez, the disgraced secretary to Spain's king. Still reeling from the defeat of the Armada, the king is desperate for any advantage in the war against England's heretic queen, and Perez will stop at nothing to regain the king's favour. So it's set in the Spanish Golden Age, and again, it sounds really, really good. I'm very intrigued. Once again, it combines historical fiction and fantasy, which I'm discovering is like a subgenre that I absolutely adore, and I'm really, really keen to see what Leigh Bardugo does with this one. Also coming out on the 9th of April is Dragon Fruit by Micaiah Lucia, I believe is how you say that name. I apologise if that's incorrect. This is a fantasy inspired by Pacific Island mythology. So, first little bit. In the old tales, it is written that the egg of a sea dragon, dragon fruit, holds within it the power to undo a person's greatest sorrow. An unwanted marriage, a painful illness, and an unpaid debt. Gone. But as with all things that promise the moon and the stars and offer hope when hope has gone, the tale comes with a warning. Every wish demands a price. Do I need to read any more? That sounds amazing. I am very keen to read some more books that are set outside of the global west, and I think the Pacific Islands definitely works. It is an area that I have not read very much about or very many books from, so I'm very keen for this one. It sounds just so cool. As I keep saying, fantasy, mythology, historical fiction, combine them in any way and I'm gonna love them. Are you seeing a trend? But yeah, this sounds amazing and I'm super excited about it. Another book that I saw Wren talking about in that video, this one is another queer fantasy that sounds absolutely fantastic. It is called To a Darker Shore and the author is Leanne Schwartz. It says here on Goodreads, plain, poor, plus size and autistic, Alesta grows up trying to convince her kingdom that she's too useful to be sacrificed like so many of their country's poor to appease the infernal monster across the poison sea in hell. Yes. It sounds like everything else I've been talking about. It sounds perfect. I love a fantasy. I love something that is monstrous and magical, and this just sounds fantastic. Plus, it has an autistic character, plus size, so it's got lots of different rep, which I think is amazing, and I don't need to read anymore. I just think it sounds incredible, and I'm super excited about it, like I keep saying. Another YA fantasy by an author that I have read from before and absolutely loved is Liar's Test by Amberlynn Quay-Molina. Amberlynn Quay-Molina is an Australian Indigenous author who I think is just a fantastic writer. She wrote the Tribe trilogy that I have read and thoroughly enjoyed, which is a dystopian young adult set in Australia. This one is a fantasy. I don't know whether it will be set in Australia or not, but that's not really important. But yeah, it comes out on the 21st of May, and on Goodreads it says, a gripping YA fantasy with a deadly contest to win a crown, a fierce heroine determined to right the wrongs done to her people, and a smouldering love story that could change everything. I didn't want to rule the risen, wreak a little havoc upon them though. That was something else entirely. But Silverleaf is a liar. It's how she survived. It's how all tree singers have survived, after they were invaded by the Risen and their gods. But now, thanks to some political manoeuvring, Belle is in the Queen's test. She's one of the 7 girls competing in deadly challenges to determine who rules for the next 25 years. If Belle wins, she'll use the power to help her people and get her revenge on the Risen. It just sounds fantastic. It sounds so cool. Like I said, I love Amberlynn Quay-Molina's writing style, and I'm really excited for this book. Next up is Flawless Girls by Anna-Marie McLemore. Do I even need to tell you anything about this book? Look at that cover. I know I said before that most of the covers for these books are beautiful, but look at it. It's just amazing. I've heard the name Anne-Marie McLemore before, and I think I've heard mostly good things about her writing. I've never read anything from her, but I'm very keen to give her a try and see what I think. And I think this sounds like it could be the right book. The Solar Sisters are infamous in polite society. Brazen, rebellious, and raised by their fashionable grandmother who couldn't care less about which fork goes where. But their grandmother also knows the standards that 2 Latina young ladies will be held to, so she secures them 2 coveted places at the Elari House, a prominent finishing school that turns out first ladies, princesses, and socialites. Younger sister Isla is back from home within a day. She refuses to become one of the eerily sweet Illyri girls in their prim white dresses. Older sister Renata stays. When she returns months later, she's unfailingly pleasant, unnervingly polite, and Isla discovers, possibly murderous. And the same night she returns home, she vanishes. Sounds, again, amazing. It sounds creepy. It sounds really fun. It sounds like it could be fantastical. It just sounds like my kind of thing. Like I said before, look at that cover. It comes out on the 28th of May, and I'm really excited for this one also. The next book is scheduled to come out in June, but it's been moved a few times, so who knows. But coming out on the 25th of June is the third book in the Amari series by B.B. Alston. The first book was called Amari and the Night Brothers. Second book was Amari and the Great Game. I can't put a cover up because we don't have one, and it doesn't seem to have like Amari and title. It just says Amari III, but I'm really excited for it anyway. I loved Amari, both books in the Amari series. It is a middle grade fantasy. We follow Amari, who is a Black American teen in America. Her brother in the first one goes missing, and then she gets a letter from him, and it's all about how the magical world exists, and she is told to go and try and join the Magical Bureau of Investigations. It's really beautifully written. It's so much fun. Amari is a magnificent character. Highly recommend. Absolutely love this series, and I'm very excited for the third one to come out. I don't know specifically what's going to happen in the third book, but that's okay because I love the first two. Then coming out on the 2nd of July 2024 is Masquerade by O.O. Sangoi Oma. I apologise if that is incorrect. I really do need to figure that out, but I apologise. This is a West African inspired historical fantasy as far as I can tell. So yeah, exactly my kind of thing. Set in a wonderfully reimagined 15th century West Africa, Masquerade is a dazzling lyrical tale exploring the true cost of one woman's fight for freedom and self-discovery and the length she'll go to secure her future. So we have historical fiction, we have reimaginings, we have mythology, and we have feminism. That sounds like Mel in a book. Yeah, I don't need to read more, but just to give everyone else a little bit more of an idea, Adodo's hometown of Timbuktu has been conquered by the warrior king of Yorubaland. Already shunned as social pariahs, living conditions for Ododo and the other women in her blacksmith guild grow even worse under Yoruba rule. Then Ododo is abducted. She is whisked across the Sahara to the capital city of Sengote, where she is shocked to discover that her kidnapper is none other than the vagrant who had visited her guild just days prior. But now that he is swathed in riches rather than rags, Ododo realizes he is not a vagrant at all. He is the warrior king, and he has chosen her to be his wife. Sounds amazing. Like I said before, I absolutely love the idea of reading mythology retellings and historical fictions set in non-European inspired worlds, so I'm really excited for this one. Then probably the book that I am most excited for out of this entire lot, that is Hera by Jennifer Saint. This one comes out on the 23rd of July 2024. Jennifer Saint is an autobiography author for me at this point. I have read 2 out of the 3 books that she has written and absolutely love them. So they are Ariadne and Electra. 2 of my favourite books in the years that I've read them, absolutely thoroughly enjoyed them, and I expect that I will love Atalanta and also Hera, which comes out next year. So Jennifer Saint does Greek mythology retellings, and this one is about the goddess Hera. I am really excited. I love the way she writes. I love the way she inserts feminist themes into the books, and yeah, I just think she's an amazing writer, so I'm really excited for this one. Coming out on the 30th of July, we have At the End of the River Styx by Michelle Karlwicki. Again, another amazing cover. The synopsis for this one says, before he can be reborn, Zan has spent 499 years bound in a 500-year curse to process souls for the monstrous ferryman, and if he fails, he dies. In Portland, Bastian is grieving. He survived a car accident that took his mother and impulse purchased a crumbling bookstore with the life insurance money. But in sleep, Death's mark keeps dragging Bastian into Zan's office. It shouldn't be a problem to log his soul and forget he ever existed. But when Zan follows Bastian through his memories of grief and hope, Zan realizes that he is not ready for Bastian to die. The boys borrow time hiding in the memories of the dead while the ferryman hunts them, and Zan must decide if he's willing to give up his chance at life to save Bastian, and Bastian must decide if he's willing to keep living if it means losing Zan. So I just think this one sounds really lovely and really fun. It sounds like it's probably going to be just a really easy read with a mixture of Greek mythology and also just a fun love story. So I am looking forward to this one. Coming out on the 6th of August is Mediji Heist by Caitlin Schneiderhan. Welcome to Florence, 1517. A world of intrigue, opulence, secrets, and murder. The Medici family rules the city from their seat of wealth, but the people of Florence remember the few decades they spent as a republic, free from the Medicis and their puppet, Pope Leo V. Sharp-witted 17-year-old conwoman Rosa Cellini has plans for the Pope and the Medicis, and more specifically, the mountain of indulgence money that they've been extorting from the people of Tuscany. To pull off the Renaissance's greatest robbery, she'll recruit Sara, the tinkerer, Khaled, the fighter, and Giacomo, the irrepressible master of disguise. To top it all off, and to smooth the entrance into the fortress-like Palazzo Medici, Rosa even enlists the reluctant help of famed artist and local misanthrope, Michelangelo. Again, another amazing sounding historical fiction, which I'm super excited about. I love Florence and Tuscany, so I'm very excited for this one. It sounds really, really cool. I'm really looking forward to it. On the 1st of September, The Last Dragon of the East by Katrina Kwan will come out. This is another fantasy, and it says on Goodreads, Sai, a humble tea shop owner, has the ability to see red threads of fate. Invisible strings of magic that connect two halves of one soul. The problem? His own thread is grey and fraying, and he's no idea why. After stumbling into a devious plot to hunt down the last dragon of the East, could his mysterious fated one be the key to unlocking his past, present, and future? A sweeping adult romantic fantasy meets the classically dark elements of Brothers Grimm fairy tales, mixed with a heart-pounding grand adventure. Again, fantasy set in non-European inspired universes. Yes, please. Sounds amazing. This is the one that I was very uncertain about, and that is Silverborn by Jessica Townsend. I put this on my most anticipated releases for 2023, and then it got pushed back. So don't quote me on this one, but apparently it's going to be coming out on the 10th of September 2024. This is the 4th book in the Morrigan Crow series. The first book was Nevermore. It is another absolutely fantastic, beautifully written middle grade fantasy, sort of similar in some ways to Amari and the Night Brothers, etc. It is about Morrigan Crow, and Morrigan Crow on her 11th birthday believes she's fated to die, and instead she is swept off to another world called Nevermore by Jupiter North and enrolled in a magical school, and it's just beautiful. It's so well written, so much fun, and yeah, I highly recommend, and I'm very excited for Silverborn. At some point, hopefully, fingers crossed, will come out. It is written by Jessica Townsend. Then we have I'm Not Really Here by Gary Lonesborough. This one wasn't actually on Goodreads, so I'm not 100% sure if the information I have is correct. This is a book that's scheduled to come out sometime in September. It is by Gary Lonesborough, who wrote The Boy from the Mish, which is a book that I read quite recently. He is an Indigenous author and he writes young adult contemporary fiction, which is what this one is. It says Jonah is the new kid in a country town. When he joins the school's rugby team to be closer to his crush, Harley, it feels like a fresh start. But he still has to navigate new friendships, old family secrets, and the same body image issues he's always had. A wonderful coming-of-age queer romance from the best-selling award-winning author of The Boy from the Mish. So I loved Boy from the Mish. I thought it was really, really well written, and I'm really looking forward to something else of his. I think it'll be amazing. Coming out on October 1st is Father Material by Alexis Hall. I read the first in the trilogy, which is called Boyfriend Material, earlier this year, and I really, really enjoyed it. I haven't read Husband Material, but I am going to at some point. And then this final book, I think it's the final book, this next book is coming out in October 2024. Boyfriend Material was about Luke and Oliver and them getting together. I suspect Husband Material will be about whether they should get married, and I assume Father Material will be about them attempting to have a baby. So yeah, I think it'll be really fun. I really enjoyed Alexis Hall's writing style, and I'm looking forward to this one. And then there's no date yet for this one, but Alice Oseman has assured us that they will be publishing a 6th volume of Heartstopper, which will come out sometime next year. Heartstopper Volume 5 is coming out now-ish, so I imagine this will come out at the end of next year, but I'm not 100% sure. Heartstopper is a graphic novel series about two boys, Nick and Charlie, who meet and fall in love in high school. It's such a wholesome, beautiful series, but it deals with some quite hard-hitting stuff to do with all sorts of things, including bullying, eating disorders, and yeah, it's just really well done. Amazing, amazing graphic novels. Thoroughly enjoy them, and I'm very excited for the final volume to come out. Well, I think it's going to be the final volume. to come out in 2024. And that's it. Those are the 24 books that I'm most excited about for 2024. Let me know in the comments below if there are books that you are really excited about. How do you do this? Do you do a list of 24 books you want to read and then another anticipated list, or do you combine them, or are you just super excited about new books coming out next year? Let me know all that in the comments below. If there are any books that you hadn't heard of or didn't know were coming out next year that you now do know about, please let me know that as well, what you're interested in reading from this list. If you'd like to leave me a comment but you don't know what, then leave me the party hat emoji because we are excited about these books coming out. All of my social media details are listed in the description below, so if you'd like to go follow me on any of those other platforms, please feel free to do so. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would absolutely love it if you would subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. And yeah, like I said, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.